Hello everybody, Justin here to make a vlog on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and briefly talk about the new animated movie, Turtles Forever. As some of you may know, I'm a lifelong dedicated fan to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I enjoyed having all the toys, which I still have a fraction of back home in Arizona, saying all the iconic catchphrases like Cowabunga or Turtle Power, and who doesn't love pizza? Also, the games were enjoyable enough to, have 10 plus years of replay value as well, especially Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo. And I'm even still amazed to this day with the quality of the first live-action movie, in which it perfectly combines elements from the comic and cartoon. The second movie was okay, but I think it kind of needed the edginess. I felt it was a little too campy, and the third movie, the plot just didn't really feel right. But like a majority of the fan base, my exposure to TMNT was through the 1987 cartoon, and at the time, I wasn't aware that it was based on a black and white comic. And some trivia for you, the first issue was published a month before I was born. As the series was dying out by the mid-1990s, I started to get into the comic a little bit and was surprised at how edgy it was, and I was actually surprised about how much entirely different it was from what I was exposed to. And then also later on, there's that 2003 cartoon that came out, and I want to talk about that right now. I was a little skeptical about the series at first, especially being a 4Kids product, despite my initial expectations being based on the 1987 cartoon. But instead, the new series in which Peter Laird, one of the co-creators of the comic, serves as a staff member, and with his presence, it gives the new cartoon a more faithful approach to the original comic. Though it doesn't really have the edginess of the comic, I thought the stories and characters were really high in a quality that I find superior to a lot of other animated works, whether American or Japanese. But thanks to Laird, being a staff member of the series, he could get away with a lot and not have his show heavily censored like how 4Kids does with the anime they license. And fans of the 1987 cartoon do bash the 2003 series a lot, but for the wrong but yet understandable reasons. I'm pretty sure most fans who grew up watching the 1987 cartoon are still not aware that it's based off a comic, and, the only way they associate TMNT is just the old cartoon along with the live-action trilogy. But I feel people need to understand the 2003 series is the more accurate representation of how the original source material is being presented before they jump to conclusions such, oh, it sucks, it's not like the old cartoon. Originally there were no catchphrases, they never endlessly ate bizarre topping pizzas, and they never had any of that wacky humor such as Raphael breaking the fourth wall to crack a joke. If anything, the 1987 cartoon is the equivalent to the 1960s Batman show. But if you choose to remember the franchise based off the 1987 cartoon, I'm down with that, but I just don't like people bashing the 2003 show without knowledge that it's based on the author's vision of how he created it. But, I'm not taking anything away with the 1987 show as well. If it weren't for that show, I probably won't be a fan, and, it's about as much as part of that series as, as much as the 1960s Batman series is part of the Batman franchise. And like I said, I personally enjoy the 2003 series the best. Not just because it lives up to the comic, but I think in some ways is superior to it. I thought they did the City at War storyline a lot better than the original comic did, and I really like how they redid the Shredder in the story. Though fans of the 1987 cartoon may not like it if they give this series a chance. I like how much of an active role and presence he's given, and I think the series does a very convincing job with the character and relationship development. And I like how the story just simply progresses. One of my favorite episodes of the series is when Donatello is sent to an alternate future where their Shredder rules the world, and it's a very, very, very dark episode. Hell, there's even an episode of the 1987 series where the Turtles are in an alternate future where the Shredder rules, and he wants to quit because of all the financial burden it gives on him and how the people complain that they're without any electricity or water. And, that should give you an idea of what I've been talking about. But moving on. So as some of you may know, Mirage sold the rights of TMNT to Viacom, specifically Nickelodeon, and there's going to be a new CG series when the world ends in 2012 or so. And as a send-off, Mirage decided to make this movie special in which the 1987 Turtles team up with the 2003 Turtles, and then team up with the Mirage Comics Turtles. The elements that lead up to the circumstances within the movie make perfect sense, and as a result, of course, both versions of the Shredder try to team up, but the 2003 Shredder thinks that the 1987 Shredder is a wimp, and he just shrubs him off, and then brings back his old henchmen, Karai and Hun, on a quest for revenge and universal domination. The story itself is well paced, but I felt it could have been longer to use some of the franchise's other characters, such as Leatherhead, Baxter Stockman, the 1987 Casey Jones, and maybe throw in Usagi Yojimbo as well. But man, if a shitty movie like Transformers Revenge of the Fallen could have over 2 hours, why can't Ninja Turtles Forever have the same treatment along with a $300 million budget? But I think it would have been fun to see the counterparts of these characters react to one another. Even though Usagi Yojimbo is created by Stan Sakai as opposed to Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman, he still had some presence in both Turtles cartoons and the comics, and I think he should have been a part of the special as well. But anyway, I feel overall, Turtles fans of all ages, generations, and franchises will enjoy this movie for the most part. The only major beef I'm sure everybody will have is that the 1987 voice cast do not reprise their roles for this movie, especially James Avery, who was Uncle Phil in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, does not come back to play the role of Shredder, and Cousin Oliver does not come back to play Michelangelo. The reason for this is that they're union actors, and 4Kids does not work with union actors. I think the voice actors that were selected to do the roles were okay, but I don't think this should be as big as a controversy as the Sonic voice actor issue, God hoping it doesn't get to that point. I was very impressed with the animation, especially with the 1987 characters. It's faithful to how they were originally done, and blends well with the new animation. The action is top-notch and should please everybody. And as for Nickelodeon having the series, I'm not worried that it will mess it up the way Image did, but if the people who worked on Avatar: The Last Airbender get to work on it, then I have no worries for the future of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And that's all I have to say on it for now, so I hope you enjoyed listening to this, and, feel free to make a viewer-sponsored comment. Over and out.